sometimes we're just piggybacking off of what nature has. But if you're somebody who's deficient in sleep, you're probably going to benefit from the float. If you're somebody who never spends time outside and your skin is showing it, you might benefit from being in the red light or the sauna. If you're it might just be dependent on what you're deficient in, then how can we replete that?
Hey everybody, so my name is Jeff Ono. I am the co-founder of Pause Studios. And today we're going to talk about what pause is, why pause is more important today than ever before, and what pause stands for as a brand.
And then I'm Dr. Charles Tabone. I'm the naturopathic medical doctor with Pause Studios. And we also dive into a little of the science behind some of the modalities that we have at Pause and why people would benefit from both a mental, performance, cognitive sort of level.
We're here. Well, guys, welcome. I want to, first of all, just acknowledge the work that you all do and the services you provide, because I know I've been talking about it on the podcast here for a long time, but anybody who's been a part of my journey on any other platform in real life, the last 4 years, almost 4 years, modalities such as IR sauna, cold plunge, and just the whole concept of intentional and consistent recovery has really helped me in so many ways. So to that, I say thank you. But I want to just crack it open more. Recovery, I think, has kind of become a trending thing, but in my opinion, a good trend. People are really seeing, of all walks of life, high performance athletes to stay-at-home dads and moms and teenagers and everything in between, consistent and intentional recovery is actually beneficial for the masses, right?
100%. 100%.
Why is that?
Because 21st century living is crazy. We're constantly connected 24/7. We're working harder than ever before. I think I just recently read an article that the United States overtook Japan as the hardest working economy in the world.
Really?
Which is bananas.
Really?
Yeah.
It ain't in LA. Well, working smarter, not harder. I don't know, but
we work out harder in gyms ever than before. HIIT training, CrossFit, Peloton. We're basically, beating ourselves up mentally and physically.
Killing ourselves
every day.
to stay alive.
Every day. Marry the fact that we don't sleep well. Lack of quality sleep is becoming a near epidemic, right? Sleep is foundational. We need it. And I think that we're hitting the tipping point. And I have to say that I think COVID helped get us to this tipping point where people are finally realizing that there's things that we can be doing that can really be couched as preventative health. This stuff is not a luxury anymore. This is a necessity. So
I completely agree. And you're saying it's become trendy, which I suppose it is, but I think it's trendy because people are realizing it actually has utility. And we probably did a lot more recovery, a lot better sleep before, and kind of life has caught up with us and it's gotten way worse of late. And then COVID potentially was that necessary breaks that people were told to put on.
Yeah, when we talk about, and Charles can speak to this, is when we talk about infrared sauna, when we talk about cold plunge, when we talk about the solitude of flotation therapy, these aren't new philosophies, right? These are age-old philosophies to help, but people hundreds of years ago knew the benefits of this stuff.
Yeah. Ancient Romans
just stopped doing it.
Built their empire off of chilling, or not heating, in a steam bath and in the bath, just for the body, but also for the mind.
Yeah, you'd probably argue almost all cultures have some level of that, right? Whether it's hot springs, whether it's baths, whether it's saunas in Finland, there's so much of that. So Jeff is trying to bring it to the masses, right?
Yeah, it's as much as Pause would like to be we're this, we've developed all these new techniques to make you feel better, to optimize your life. Well, these have been around for centuries, so we can't take credit for that. Yeah. We're just bringing them together in a way that demystifies these modalities. A quick story. I quit a corporate job. My wife and I were trying to get pregnant. We were not successful. I was stressed out every day. Probably not being a very good person, realizing that I could be better, a better partner, a better husband, a better friend. And one day I floated. And, flotation therapy is sensory deprivation.
Yeah, float tank.
I went to this disgusting place. Chase, I'm not going to name it.
Yeah.
But it was gross.
I can imagine.
And I went late at night, and the person working there said, okay, I'm going to put you in this, get naked, jump into this float tank, and I'm going to leave. So lock yourself out. lock the door on your way out.
Oh, like literally leave.
Literally left. And I was like, all right, clearly I'm not as smart as I think I am because I'm getting naked. I'm jumping in this body of water at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm alone.
I'm sure it was a
in
great
this
deal.
foreign environment. Even with all that, when I got to that first float, I felt transformed. I felt like I was 20 years younger.
Wow.
Like I literally felt like I was 20 years younger. I
Why?
remember
What happened in there?
I laid in this water. Hopefully it was clean. And I dropped into, my brain frequency shifted. I dropped into a place where I was literally meditating, like forced to meditate, basically, in and out of being conscious. And when in that state, there's a lot of magical things that that happen in terms of stress, the stress hormone, cortisol being stopped and natural endorphins lifting. But I felt so refreshed that I wanted to share that experience with everybody I knew. The problem was there was nowhere to do it. Nowhere to do it that was warm, that was clean, that was...
that you didn't have to run the operation too, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I had to end up, mopping the floor when I was... No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, so these modalities, we're bringing them together in a way that's curated. There's an experience behind it, and people feel comfortable. People are trusting what they're doing at pause, and that's all by design.
And all of them, like, there's nothing really gimmicky there. Everything's trying to, and it's such a cliche, but it's like empower your body to heal itself type of thing, right?
Yeah,
so
just put it in the right environment. The body it craves homeostasis.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then using these, sometimes they're all like little small hormetic stresses, but you're trying to get the body to then respond in kind. And what I love about it, it's like some of these modalities, when I first heard about floats, for instance, it was all through the biohacking community. But like sometimes biohacking is very whatever. They do all sorts of stuff that isn't necessary.
They can be unique.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that crowd, yeah.
But they are sometimes on the forefront of something, and this is all ancient practices, but it's the idea that pause has selected these different modalities that actually work, that aren't overly gimmicky, and that support the body in healing itself. So that's all amazing, and amazing for recovery, amazing for so many different things, right?
Yeah. And like you alluded to, my 82-year-old mom could benefit from services at pause. My 18-year-old niece, who's like just a badass in jiu-jitsu that beats herself up every day, she can benefit from pause. It's not specific towards a certain type of person. Like we're all kind of suffering from the same ailments right now, and pause addresses a lot of those. So we're very inclusive, and you spend one day sitting in one of our comfortable sofas in pause, and you'll see.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
All walks of life.
It's true.
All walks of life coming in there.
I'm curious, when you went in, what was, or did you have an intention going into the float tank? It sounds like you were at a very stressful period of your life. And was it just, I just want to go somewhere where I don't have to think? Or were you going in like with an intention of meditation? Because I think my personal kind of takeaway is that with certain practices like a float tank or IR sauna or a lot of these, are we still calling them alternative therapies? I don't know. The perception is that they're alternative, is that I have to be some kind of person first. I have to be in some kind of physical or mental or even emotional state to believe it, to go in, to enjoy it, and to get some kind of positive, usually health-oriented outcome. Where were you on that spectrum? What was your intention going in? Did you have one? And how can we paint this picture for the person maybe who wants to go in that doesn't have one yet?
For sure. So I didn't have a specific intent, and except for the fact that I heard flotation therapy was great for relaxation, like to just like.
So you're like, I just want to chill out.
I just want to chill out. Yeah. I just want to like shut off the outside world and do absolutely nothing. When was the last time in my life I did absolutely nothing? Never. So I went in with that kind of intent. But I will say that you don't need to come in to do these services at Pause or anywhere else with intent. Like basically you going in, like your body is already craving.
Oh my God.
Like the fruit of what you're going to get from these services. So, mental intent or not, you're going to get it, And I definitely don't think these are alternative therapies. I think we could drop alternative.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let's make that a thing now.
Yeah, let's get rid of that.
Just therapies. Protocols.
Yep.
Yeah, and I also like with float specifically, you probably get what you need out of them. So, And really, like, we've had people come out of them and have to like journal this epiphany that they had, whether that was this amazing breakthrough creatively or like coming out sobbing and crying because they just spent time finally processing something they hadn't been able to. Other people that are trying to get deeper into a meditation practice, so they know how to sink into that, but then not having the constant distractions, which are part of life around, that really did help them get that much further. Sometimes you just need to fall asleep and you just need a quiet place to do it. And it's nice and relaxing. And then the downstream effects of actually getting true quality, restful recovery, right?
My first float tank experience, I went in just to like, oh, let me just check it out. Let me just see what it is. I've been wanting to do it. I've been hearing a lot of things about it. I did it and I was like, all right, that's a thing. And then the second time I went in actually with an intention, or kind of just maybe I think just having that experience, my brain could actually relate to, oh, this is what we're, quote, maybe supposed to do, or what we could experience in it. And after that time, I was like, I get it. Yeah. I get it. And then I could reflect back on the first time, and I think whether it's a float tank or anything maybe us as humans try to do to chill, to escape, to relax, to honor our minds and bodies, it's new for the first time, right? Mm-hmm. So we kind of have maybe a little bit of our walls are up, some judgment, some bias, but also no relation. There's no, like, I don't know what to think because I've never experienced it before. Mm-hmm. But after that first time, my second time, my third time, my fourth time, and every time since then, it's like, I get it. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to just be there and surrender. And first of all, it's incredible to just have time and space for 45 minutes to an hour to just do nothing. Right. To your point, Jeff, when's the last time we said that? Mm-hmm. When's the last time we had that? But then to go in, all right, now I know I have this container, quite literally, to do nothing. What do I want to think about? What do I want to accomplish? Or what am I hopeful for? It's like a great container. I keep saying that word for that. But then what about the other stuff too? So float tank has been incredible for a lot of different things, but like IR sauna, cold plunge, and contrast therapy. Mm-hmm. I think especially cold therapy right now is really, really popular.
Huge. Before we jump into that, just one more quick thing on floating is, we've talked a lot about the mental benefits of floating and stress reduction and rest. But on the physical side, if you're sore and you jump into a float tank with the properties of what is happening during the float session, you get out of that float tank, you're not sore anymore. Every single NFL team has float tanks in their training centers now.
Wow.
The Navy SEALs float. So I know we're focusing a lot on floating right now, but there's nothing else out there that I can think of that checks off mental and physical recovery as efficiently as flotation therapy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's impressive.
Yep, completely. And then I'll pick up on, unless you have.
Yeah, I would just say, who doesn't want to be like a Navy SEAL? Who doesn't want to be like, a high performance athlete? If I'm going to do something, and if I know this person at this level is doing the same thing, if I could just tap into a little bit of that, that's me personally. That's what I'm after.
Absolutely.
And so then contrast.
So I'm a naturopathic medical doctor. In med school, we learn about hydrotherapy. We actually take courses on it. We're like sitting in hot plunges and cold plunges, and we have to do training with like wrapping people in sheets to get them to get into these sweating sort of episodes in order to try to elicit healing, right? So this is like part of ancient practices. It's something that we do in medicine. And there's so much downstream effect to, again, those little hormetic stresses that get your body to then elicit these responses. So whether you get heat shock proteins from being in the sauna, or cold shock proteins, or the active shivering, we can go into depth on the benefit of all these things. There's so much benefit to it.
Or even like the science, like what is physiologically happening when we step foot into the cold plunge and the IR sauna, for example?
So, initially there's like the mental barrier to not wanting to get into the cold would be the very first thing, right? So then the fact that you overrode that to force yourself into it, there's like, you're exercising that muscle to do something hard. I
have choice. I have power. I can do what I say I'm going to do and do hard things.
And I had a patient that was trying to quit smoking. This is a number of years ago, and I wasn't working with PAUSE at the time, but I ended up getting her to do cold showers in the morning as her thing to just like do something hard that you don't want to do and do it. It gives you, so like there's other things, it gives you endorphins, you'll get dopamine release, but also just the act of accomplishing a hard task then makes you be able to do other things. And she quit smoking and attributed.
Wow.
That was one of the things within it, but really it was really just, so anyways, there's a lot of benefit to to cold. And then when you actually get into the water, then you're getting that vasoconstriction. Your blood's kind of shunting to your core. So that is exercise to your vasculature. And if you've paired that with being hot first, so you've dilated all your blood flows into the periphery, then you get that cold shock. That is a great sort of exercise for the little capillaries, and you'll end up increasing vascular flow. Vascular tone can help with blood flow. So there's so many downstream effects. Not to mention, then you actually get cold, start shivering. That can increase your metabolic rate, have brown fat
Burning
created.
calories.
Like, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about the science around how there's benefit to something like cold. And then if you want to talk about IR sauna as well.
Kind of still on the cold aspect, contrast in particular, because heat therapy and cold therapy, I've been kind of in pursuit of for a while. And I feel like that's been more abundant, but now I kind of even see more of, no, it's about contrast. They definitely both have their places, right? But is it the contrast therapy of hot, cold, hot, cold? Is that where we're really getting the most bang for our buck in terms of these recovery practices and overall wellness?
Yeah, I think you'd probably get benefit from doing just one or the other or both. Right?
Okay, right. Yeah.
But I think pairing it, there is something unique that's going on. So you're getting the dilation and then constriction. You're bringing blood flow to an area and then flushing it away, then bringing new blood to the area, flushing it away. That's going to be healing. You're moving energy through joints.
And that's something we don't normally do throughout the day, right?
As much.
Or
totally.
without hardcore intention, such as maybe like rigorous exercise or something like that.
Yeah, in terms of the drastic contrast. So like sitting in a sauna is like an exercise. It's like going for a jog essentially while you're sitting in there to your cardiovascular.
Hear that, everybody? You can do cardio sitting down. It's great. Yeah,
you really can.
You're still sweating, but yeah. I get my cardio done seated. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But there is something unique about the contrast, and it helps you stay in the sauna sometimes for longer as well, because you get lightheaded, you feel sort of that you can't be in there, and then getting that little bit of reprieve can be really beneficial to then let you prolong your sauna session. So
I experienced the contrast for the first time actually in a Paul studio not that long ago, and I found it actually to be more of a challenge. It was hot, the IR sauna first, and then the cold plunge. I swear, you all's cold plunges are the coldest. I was like, damn, I've done cold plunge before. This shit is cold. I had to get out once. I was like, all right, get back in. But the hot and then the cold, the hot and then the cold. I forget the exact protocol. I think it was like 11, 12 minutes sauna and then 2 or 3 minutes cold plunge. And I did that, I think, for like 45 minutes or something. And it was way more challenging for me personally than just those individual modalities. So that's just like my personal contribution to I think there is something to it. It's the contrast is, we're talking hot, we're talking really cold, but to challenge yourself, the mindset, actually, the choice to have to go in and out, you're making hard decisions physically and mentally, in a very short period of time. And so that's pretty cool. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. I mean, it's challenging, but like on the other side of challenge is change, right? Like when you get out of that contrast therapy session, I mean, I feel like I could run through a wall. I mean, I'm not going to try it, but like I feel like I could run through a wall.
I call it my Superman booth. You walk in Clark Kent, you walk out Superman.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible.
Absolutely. But it is challenging.
Yeah.
But like anything worthwhile in life is challenging, right? Like, but I want to just kind of jump in on the infrared sauna. So like even the infrared sauna by itself, one of the primary reasons why people come in for the infrared sauna sessions is because of immunity. In the infrared sauna, your core body temperature, elevates. So you it's almost as if you're getting a fever. And like the result of that is that your body's producing, white blood cells and such. So it's kind of helping your immunity. So every modality has its benefits, so I don't know if, contrast therapy is the best, but it depends upon what it is that you're trying to get out of it.
It's certainly an option.
So,
Yeah, and totally. And then when you say like, what was the protocol? And that's why I wasn't necessarily nodding along, because I don't know what you did. And there is no protocol.
You weren't there.
Because like I sometimes will just spend an hour just in the sauna if I can and don't even touch the cold. Or I might just like put my hand in the cold to cool down my body temperature without cooling my entire core, my muscles down. So like really you can use these, and pause is great for that. You kind of, it's a self-guided session. You're in the room for yourself. So whatever you want to do with that half hour you're in there, you're able to accomplish. And sometimes
it's my me time.
It is.
Exactly right.
It is.
Yeah. And we might be able to coach you totally, but through what is beneficial to you. So you can personalize it to exactly what you need or want, right?
How can you guys help us kind of paint a picture for, I'm the person that I'm hearing about this stuff and I want to try it out. But maybe I don't know which recovery technique is best for me, or which one should I kind of go towards? Is float tank going to serve me more? Is IR sauna going to serve me more? Is red light therapy, which we haven't gotten to, but a lot of these things that you all I know have under one roof, but just these modalities in general. Is there one? The collective human picture here. This would be best served for someone like this, or start here and then go to these kind of things, and why?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really does come down to intent. Like what problem are you trying to solve? For the most part.
Yeah.
But I'll let you speak more towards, some of that.
Yeah, because it's like, what are you deficient in, right? And sometimes this is just replacing, like, I also tell people, like, don't even bother coming into pause. Like, go hop in the ocean. It's really cold right now. Like, you don't necessarily...
Especially on the West Coast, yeah.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's really like the infrared sauna is amazing for your skin, for activating your mitochondria, but you're getting that red light and the near infrared if you're out in the sun without getting burned. That's also a huge benefit. So, like, sometimes we're just piggybacking off of what nature has. But if you're somebody who's deficient in sleep, you're probably going to benefit from the float. If you're somebody who never spends time outside and your skin is showing it, you might benefit from being in the red light or the sauna. If you're it might just be dependent on what you're deficient in, then how can we replete that?
You bring up an interesting point. I love talking about this stuff, especially when we're talking like nutrition or supplementation or this hack or whatever. Talk me out of one of these therapies.
Yeah.
What can I do for free out in nature that I would even say we as collective humans should start there to just, build it into our lifestyle, get a little bit of that positive feedback, but then as we want to and choose to for specific reasons and intention, come into a studio or come in and get something like that.
Yeah, totally. So if you were just coming into just the sauna and you're trying to get the benefit of infrared light, then you can do that by getting out in the sun.
That's the main benefit of IR sauna, we're saying, is the infrared light.
But like the heat as well. Okay. So, but one of the benefits of it is you're getting heated up. You're getting heated up a little deeper than you would in a traditional sort of like Finnish sauna where you're getting very hot on the outside. But it's not penetrating necessarily further into your body. But so you're getting the detoxification and all these things from heating yourself up, and that's a great benefit of sauna. There's so much study around frequent sauna use for longevity, so I don't want to discount that. But infrared saunas are unique, and near infrared, that spectrum specifically, is unique because it activates your mitochondria and helps them produce more ATP. So you're getting that added benefit when you're going into the sauna, and that's something that we're often like, if you just support your mitochondria, and if this is a biohacking podcast or everybody has heard the benefit of mitochondria, like if you can turbocharge your mitochondria, you're going to work better on all facets of life.
So if you want to work better in all facets of life, here's an option for you, which I think is everybody. But I appreciate that, and I love kind of highlighting things for free, and also things that we should be incorporating, or ideally incorporating into our lifestyle to just put a foot in to the human optimization experience. And then if we feel like we need more, we need less, or want to make it a routine, and I think there's a lot of power in carving out, I'm going to go here for this thing. I'm going to go to this place, see this person for this reason. There's a whole nother level of healing there. Now we've kind of talked about it, but maybe can we talk about what is going on with the power of intention behind it? When we get our mind present, our emotions, our head, and our heart with what we're doing physically, is there another level of healing possible there? What's science got to say about that?
I would imagine, but in terms of what science has to say.
What do you personally believe? Is there power behind aligning intention in the head and the heart to a recovery technique like this that can elevate the experience?
Yeah, I would say without question. And like if you talk about what is placebo, and we still don't know what the placebo effect is, but we know it is a huge thing. And if you can amplify the placebo effect, you're going to get the best results in life, right? So by essentially empowering your body to heal itself, if that is what placebo is, then like sign me up. Everybody should, right? So if you can align your practices around that, or set an intention and try to then elicit change as a result of that, I think that's a huge benefit. So I'm not saying any of these modalities are amplifying placebo, but if you went in with that mentality, you probably would have a better chance of getting the response that you're hoping for.
I think we believe the mind has the ability to do many wonderful things. We just don't really listen to it. Right? So like, for example, when you're in a float tank, without the, sensory input, There's no, visual stimulation. There's no auditory stimulation. There's no sensation of touch. Your mind literally stops like thinking. And that's when your conscious mind is out. And then your subconscious mind is able to actually take your brain power and do what it wants to with it.
Yeah.
So intention is key. Like if you have emotional, an emotional block that you need to address, when you drop into that place and your mind knows that's what you need, when your conscious mind falls asleep, then you can go ahead and take care of that. If you have, a torn Achilles, right? And your mind and body knows that you have to focus on that Achilles. When you shut off all stimulation, it's able to understand where the areas of need are, and it's able to address those areas of need.
So true.
The mind is, I don't know what that statistic is, but they say like we use like 7% of our brain, 7% of the capacity of our brain or something like that.
Yeah. Definitely more after a float tank, I think.
I mean, I'd say at least 8% after you come to pause, But yeah, the mind has the ability to feel. Kind of one quick note is kind of Charles touched on it, but one of the beautiful things about our brand and about our experience is that it is self-guided. It's listen to your body. There's no wrong way or right way to do a lot of these services. It's about listening to what you need and how you feel. We're not standing over you telling you exactly how to do something. You don't need that. Like, there's enough of that. Like,
it's not like a recovery, personal trainer.
No,
it's just here's the space for these things. Go on about your business.
Yeah, I mean that's really it. Is like there's so much information out there right now. Some real, some maybe real, some totally false. But what's real is how you feel, how you feel as a human being, how your mind feels, and that's what we try to encourage people to do when they're in a session of pause. Just listen to yourself.
I'm so glad you said that, Jeff. And it kind of reminds me, it's to kind of piggyback off of the placebo effect. I mean, first and foremost, there is science and studies showing the placebo effect is a real thing. What the mind believes becomes our reality. It might take one experience, it might take a compounding effect of days, weeks, months, years, but whatever we experience up here translates to what we believe to be our truth. And I think there's another part of the market out there that believes that more about certain things like this. It's bullshit. There's no science. It's not real. You're making it up. You're wasting your money. But I'll tell you, I mean, a lot of these modalities, I used to kind of think that, or I was just like, I don't know. Doesn't seem legit. Doesn't seem real. But I make it real. I go in, and when I do whatever I'm doing, first and foremost, there's intention. There's the time carved out. I'm not doing anything else. So I can finally be present in my body. I can let my head and my heart finally have a space to connect. And I'm being challenged at the same time. I'm being challenged through trying not to focus. I'm being challenged by floating in a deprivation tank. I'm being challenged by freezing my ass off. I'm being challenged by sweating my ass off. Or just being still for however long, the red light therapy is. I think there's so much that goes on in there that we can't maybe quite yet comprehend or give rationale to. So outside looking in, it seems like that's not real, that's bullshit. But when you're in there, it is very real. And so I think the realness is what we make it. And then when we walk in with one belief and walk out maybe one time or many times, like we're changing our belief system of what is possible maybe for human beings, but for our own selves. How powerful is that? How powerful is that?
It's insanely powerful.
I mean, that's
it's amazing.
I think the ultimate level of healing, right?
Absolutely.
And I want to, speaking of healing, you're a healer, doctor, naturopathic physician, and you're talking about kind of these different approaches you had in your training to what we're talking about. And can you just share a little bit of your experience with that? Because I think to someone listening, it's like, oh, wow, a doctor was actually trained in these things. It's not just somebody, talking about it. Because I know MDs, not to kind of like cast a shadow, but I mean, especially in just bare bones nutrition. I mean, I don't know if it's changed, but I know a lot of MDs, it's like nutrition even was just like an elective. Right. So to get to true, real healing that we're talking about here, in my opinion, like you're actually getting trained. There's a whole nother class of healers out there that are getting the training on this stuff so that I can then go learn from.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That's
and
impressive.
really like, so as a naturopathic doctor, we're trained in Eastern and Western medicine. You have to do undergraduate, and then you also do 4 years of medical school, and you can do residency afterwards if you wish. And like, so nutrition, I think I had over 100 hours of,
Wow.
and then plus my own, like reading my own books and interest in my own podcasts and my own exploration because I'm just interested in it, right? But like, the whole idea is, and it's the cliche I said, but like, how can we empower the body to heal itself? And how can you just remove obstacles to heal and then make up for deficiencies, remove excesses, and help support you on that quest, right? So, and I break it down to 5 pillars, but like diet is one of them. Sleep and rest is one of them. Movement, exercise would be one of them. Social and connection would be another thing. Nature is another thing. So like, these are all very important. In medical school, we learn all of these things, both the science around why something like a sauna would be beneficial to you for liquefying the gel matrix inside of your cells to try to push out something that might be a toxin within it, right? Like that's, and I can get very nuancey in science around something that sounds woo-woo-y, but like there's a lot of logic in a lot of these modalities, and we touch on all that from the science, but then also through the traditional sort of and Eastern philosophy as to how would Chinese medicine speak to the movement of energy and qi and through the body, right? So that's all something we learn in school. Touch on it. It's why I was excited by pause and the modalities here, because it's all something I believe in and I know has actual science to back up, as well as ancient practice, which in itself is science through experience, right?
Do you think, are you seeing maybe like a paradigm shift in people's demand for this type of medical care? You know, aside from these, we're not calling them alternative therapies anymore, from these other therapies, but you know, traditional medical care. Are you seeing a paradigm shift on your end?
Totally. And I think also when you go and spend time speaking with medical doctors, which I do, they also see the gap in their knowledge sometimes and the need for this. And they wish they had an hour to speak to a patient and really try to help them through diet, because that's probably what they need. And they wish they had their own education to help them truly on diet versus what the food pyramid says, which is a whole nother conversation, right?
Is that still a thing?
Apparently. I think it's a plate now, and that's also probably just as bad. But anyways,
man.
so I think it's not East versus West anymore. And I think a lot of Western trained doctors also understand the benefit of a lot of these ancient practices. And there probably was more of like a war or trying to discredit people. And I don't know what happened 100 years ago in terms of this dichotomy between allopathic medicine and sort of Western modalities. But it seems like, and maybe it's all social media, maybe it's just the free flow of information, but people have now gravitated back to these things that we know truly work. And I think all walks of life are seeing it, and research is now proving stuff we've known forever anyways. So
I want to shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
You know, Jeff, we have a lot of people in the audience that are health, wellness oriented, living a life ever forward. I say it's kind of bringing attention and awareness to a lot of different aspects and modalities of life so that we can pinpoint one, work on it, add it to our toolbox, and, move on. And in that, and in the audience, there are a lot of people that are like, all right, I want to add this to my toolbox. I want to grow a business. I want to, make this a thing other than just what I'm doing for my own performance and cognition and wellness. What value does something like pause and these recovery techniques hold for a business owner? Is this the next big booming thing? What are you seeing on kind of the business side of recovery?
I mean, I think yes, I think this is a big thing, and I think it's happening now. But it's a big thing because there's people like us that are out there that are passionate about living better. It's simple. Like everybody that I know has a desire to live better. So, from a business perspective, when you can align with something and really be passionate about delivering that, it's the most incredible feeling in the world. It's the most incredible feeling in the world. I was a corporate guy for 15 plus years, and it was fulfilling, but it clearly took its toll. It took a toll on me. And discovering these modalities and then driving towards designing and offering and inviting people from all walks of life to do these modalities is there's no reward greater, right? It's like, from a business perspective, as we grow and we take on additional partners and, franchisees and such, it's a great business. It's a booming business. You're helping people, you're helping yourself, It's fun because you're interacting with all sorts of different types of people. I mean, it's everything. It's everything.
Where, coming with your corporate background, where do you see that type of person being served most by these recovery techniques? Are we on the cusp of, in the boardroom, there's also a sauna or a cold plunge? Is it being brought into the corporate world just yet?
I don't think it's happening quite yet. I think we're, probably at the tip of the iceberg here. I mean, I think there are conversations being had in the marketplace about things like that. But for now, I think the availability of studios like Pause is probably where the focus is going to be, right now. Like Starbucks, there should be a recovery center on every block of, in this country.
I'm here for it.
And I think that's where it is more so than, going into a specific place. Like I would probably compare it more towards a gym.
Okay.
Whether it be an Equinox or an Orange Theory or an F40 or whatever it is, I see, and I wouldn't call ourselves a gym, but recovery as kind of the gym model in terms of availability. I think that's where we're headed.
Do you see it kind of going more like that route of one-off locations, or does there, I'm assuming here we're after the ultimate good, and that's helping people physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Can we have all that under one roof? Can we have the gym? Can we have the sauna? Can we have, is there a place for all that to kind of live together, from a business model perspective?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there isn't right now, but certainly that makes a lot of sense, combining it all. And maybe it's not combined with fitness, but rather combined with, acupuncture or meditation studio, or, there's so many different ways that we can piece this together. But yeah, I think a combo play is also coming. Yeah.
And everybody would benefit. But what's, I think, unique or special right now about Pause is truly is a place to go and pause, take a break from life, right? So if you were going in and people are working out and people are also then trying to sit in a sauna, that exists currently. But it's different than the idea that you need to step back, zoom out of life, and really recover and recuperate, right?
That's the whole intention behind it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the name Pause basically is, we understand life's challenges again, and we're not saying that stop.
Right.
We're just saying take a momentary.
That's not realistic.
Take a moment. It's not realistic at all. Take a momentary break, right, to focus on yourself, right, and then jump back out there, feeling better and being better, than before. Pause. That's it.
When I hear about new things or things becoming more popular, whether that's a food, a gadget, a hack, whatever, another part of me always thinks about access. With my clinical background, I always kind of thought about access to care. There are certain people, and I worked in concierge medicine, so it's a totally different story, but it made me more aware of the concept of access to care. There are people that you've got extra money, you've got a couple extra $100 a month, a couple $1,000 a year, whatever, maybe even a couple $1,000 a month to pour into yourself, really, but to pay for extra services to go to these places, to have somebody maybe come to you to customize a workout, customize a meal plan, customize a business plan, whatever. Where can we mitigate the access here? Where because the people that benefit the most, well, I think every human being can benefit from this, but how can we get this to people that maybe don't have the extra money or extra time even? How does recovery play a role in access, or access and recovery, I should say? Sure.
Well, that's a much larger conversation, but certainly, at Pause, you can come into a session at Pause for, less than $40. We're not expensive, by any stretch of the imagination. That being said, like any industry, as it starts to grow, it becomes more accessible on the high end, on the low end. It's coming. It's happening now. Are there ways that we can brainstorm to make it even more available, i.e.,
what would that even look like?
Boys and girls clubs, or whether it's modalities showcased within the four walls of a youth center, for example, or special partnerships, with these youth centers, so they can come into a brand like Pause. There's ways to do it. But it really is going to take, larger. Actually, you know what? From this one question, I think that's going to be a big, personal kind of KPI for me is thinking about how we can, expose this to even more.
Yeah.
We pride ourselves on being accessible, but maybe we need to think about being even more accessible.
You're saying that, I'm just imagining a flatbed or a tractor trailer of, like 2 IR sauna boxes and just some giant Rubbermaid tubs, for cold plunges, and just wheeling up to a random location or somewhere that, maybe there isn't a pause or there aren't these other modalities for people. That's really cool. And I think that's, when we look at the people that probably need certain types of help in recovery techniques and nutrition and just help in general, we got to go to them, right? We got to go to them, or else we're going to miss the mark on the bigger picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then something like get outside, hop in the ocean, or if you live in the East Coast, just turn on your cold shower and really you can get access to some of this stuff too. But then if you were trying to get into a flow, because it's a completely otherworldly experience, or get the benefit of the sauna or red light or cryo or whatever's going on, pause. And Jeff, they're trying to bring it to the masses and made it accessible, and hopefully expanding across the nation where you actually get to hit some of these demographics that don't have access. And then if you make thousands of dollars and you can have a float tank in your basement, high five, man, all the power to you. But
or pull a Stranger Things and make one in the back of the pizza studio.
There we go.
Just dump all the salt in it.
Yeah, we all want to be 11, right?
What's next? I feel like with these recovery techniques we've been talking about, at least in what I've experienced, those are all that are readily available. Red light therapy, cold plunge, IR sauna. We haven't really talked about, things maybe like an IV drip, just being in a place that is meant to take a pause and then treat your body in a different modality. What's on the horizon? What are some recovery techniques and tactics and hacks maybe that we can talk about now? Or, what are you personally seeing? What does the science show?
Yeah, I'm always looking for new stuff. One I'm particularly excited about that's been around for a while is PMF, pulse electromagnetic frequency.
What's that?
It's basically, you could probably explain it better than I.
Yeah, I don't know. You need a quantum physics degree to fully understand it.
It basically, you lay on a bed and there's these different pads that basically are able to pulse electromagnetic frequency through your body. And it's able to literally identify areas of your body that need attention. Wow. And your body starts to twitch as it's starting to kind of address some of the issues that are happening with it. I love it.
So it's kind of like a total body TENS unit kind of thing?
TENS, I don't know.
Kind of, yeah.
It's like electrostimulation, a little pad. A lot of people put it on low back pain or recovery centers. Yeah.
But that's more trying to distract the nervous system, whereas this is trying to speak to the cells essentially. So it's more at a cellular level versus a distraction technique.
Interesting. Yeah. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah. It's not as readily available, but it's interesting. We're looking at it. We got to vet everything. Hyperbaric oxygen chambers are it's a thing.
Possible. And then does that fit within the pause model too? And maybe it does too. But it's you can jump on every new trend as well. But it's also maybe you just here are the tried and true things that people really truly need, and it's not gimmicky. It's it's going to work, and that's why we're currently using it, right?
Yeah, what part of the criteria for us in terms of selecting services?
Yeah, I was going to ask what is kind of the vetting process?
They've got to be science backed. They've got to be proven out by a multitude of different people that we reach out to. They have to stack, right? Our modalities have to live together, theoretically, anybody could come to a pause and try, pair all of our services, and they would simply amplify the benefit of why you would come to pause. And so that's very critical for us.
Benefit in one, but also there's a compound effect to them all.
Totally.
Right, okay.
Totally.
What are you personally doing? I have to imagine someone who's living it, eating it, breathing it, working it, using the things we've talked about. But, is there something else that's unique to your mind-body practice that you can't quite get in a studio anywhere yet? What are you finding value in for your wellness?
Don't roll your eyes, but laughter. I've got two 8-year-old twins at home.
Joy.
And coaching their basketball team, even though we literally lost last weekend 60-0, and I'm not even making that up. We literally lost 60-0. I don't know if we'll get them next time, but hopefully we can score a bucket next time. But being present. And that, that also goes with pause, is that I needed to become present, every second of my life. And I wasn't prior. I was always thinking about what was next. I was always thinking about what my next move was going to be on the corporate ladder.
What a carryover effect.
So part of pause was like be in the moment. So now for me, being with my family, with my kids, laughing, getting our asses kicked on a basketball court, you know, a soccer starts this weekend. Can't wait for that. You know, that stuff to me is that, you know, it's beyond words.
Yeah.
You know, beyond words.
It's like, how does this make sense? How, like, it doesn't seem like anything, right?
Right.
I'm literally doing nothing. I'm just chilling, hanging with family,
right,
having a good time, sharing a laugh.
Right.
But like the ripple effect is, it's like, wow, I didn't know this was possible.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
You know, the feeling, the aftermath, like the endorphin rush of that, of being with them, doing something extraordinary. It feels somewhat similar when I'm, you know, getting out of a flow tank or getting out of cryo, and that same sort of, you know, endorphin dopamine rush.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful answer, and my mind went somewhere completely different, and now I wish it went there first. So, yeah.
Oh, we got more variety. Absolutely.
Because I was initially like, like blood flow restriction bands, I think are great.
Oh,
They were during COVID when gyms were closed. It was something that I got into, and then like the last number of months I've been very busy, but it's a way to like kind of still get a workout in without having to truly. But anyways, that's. But now I want to piggyback off of that and say I just had my first child.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. So just, and he's like, there's been a little bit of a journey in the hospital, but just spending time with him has been really rewarding. So I wish I went there first, but maybe that's just I'll learn as the years go on. Right.
What I just heard you both kind of share. You know, thank you for sharing that. Is really cool to hear, because it's a good reminder of like how something as simple as just taking a pause and spending quality time with ourselves and with our loved ones makes us feel. Like there's immense power to that. And quick little backstory. I'm a big data guy. You know, I got my Whoop, I got my Apple Watch, smart bed. I track a lot of things, but you know, I've also learned to really lean into the qualitative aspect of how am I feeling? What is my body telling me? What am I ignoring? And about this time last year, earlier last year, I was kind of going through a real bad bout of burnout. Like nothing made sense. You know, I'm doing all these things, IR sauna, cold plunge, sleep, all these other things that are supposed to be helping me, but nothing was really connecting. And I was missing quality time. I was missing just downtime, literally just making time to do nothing or to just step away from the big machine. And I would even track it. Now I can basically like guarantee now when I go into a weekend event or even just a couple hours with friends and my wife or doing nothing on the beach, it's like it's kind of like, it makes no sense. I'll track nothing, but it always yields a positive result in terms of my total recovery score, my HRV, and also just how I feel. So it's like we don't think these things, we don't think doing nothing does something,
right?
But it does.
Yep.
Right.
But it does.
Absolutely.
What would you want the person listening right now to walk away from and like really grab hold of the most? So like if like, all right, one of these things, a concept, you know, a practice, like what would you hope they, you know, pursue next?
Do you want to go first?
I was like, it's bringing it back full circle to where we started, but like recovery is key. Even if you're working out a lot, like you're saying, when you do nothing, all of a sudden you find your HRV goes up. Like when you work out, you're not getting any benefits from the workout, or like, but it's eliciting the benefits you get when you're recovering afterwards.
Nothing is something. Absolutely, nothing is recovery.
Yeah. So really, just if you can take one thing away, it's whatever it ends up being. Whether you come into a pause and you sit in a float, or whether you just go outside and sit under a tree and listen to the wind blow. Like it's you need to spend time zooming in and helping your body just deal with the whatever stresses of life, and you're going to be better for it.
Same?
Yeah, I would say, you know, similar. I would say that when you're not feeling right, when there's burnout, when you're just not feeling the way that you'd like to feel, you know, there are tools out there. You got to be real with yourself. You got to really kind of dig down deep and really. It's important. You got to address these things. You got to figure it out, whether it means speaking to somebody, whether it means coming into pause, whether it means spending more time in nature. Like you
just admitting that
you deserve to feel better. You deserve to live better, right? Like you get one chance to, you know, to ride this crazy, you know, ride called life, right? So we owe it to, it's incumbent upon ourselves. If we're not feeling right, spend the time to figure it out. It might be difficult, but figure it out. And then there's a place like pause that can help.
Yeah.
But, you know, but I'm speaking much bigger here, you know, like just live better.
I really do agree with that. We deserve to feel better. And I think I definitely have struggled with that in the past of I can't like, I shouldn't, I don't deserve to take the time off to do this stuff when I have so much other work to do. Or I'm going to feel bad about choosing to do nothing or go to the spa, the recovery center, you know, and it looks like, you know, you're just like living this lavish life of just doing nothing, but it's like, it's intentional. It's like, I'm doing these things so that I can show up better for all the other things that are, you know, super important in my life that I have to get done, that I want to get done to show up my best version for myself and my family, my community. So many things that I do to like lead up to try to be the best podcaster and host and content creator that I can be. It all takes these little things to feed into that big picture. And it's, I think first and foremost, it's the mindset. And it's also the acceptance of like, no, I deserve. I deserve to do nothing. I deserve to recover. I deserve to feel or put myself on the path to feeling my absolute best. I feel pretty damn good, and it's come a long way, but you know, I think I can feel better. But if I don't first choose myself, how will I ever know? Choice is hard for people.
Absolutely.
Choice is hard. Saying that out loud, like I deserve to feel my best. That's pretty wild. I wonder if anybody's in the car doing that right now. Well, this has been great. Thank you guys so much for coming in and sharing your personal experiences with recovery techniques and what Pause has to offer and just these different modalities in general. Like I said earlier, it's been great for me to kind of explore this stuff in my personal wellness and then get to crack open in long format with, you know, the experts and people that are offering it for other people. So for that, I say thank you.
Thank you. This has been great.
Where y'all going next with Pause? You know, I know we talked about you're getting new with franchising, you know, kind of opening up more locations. I see them opening up a lot more, at least here in LA, but what's like the next future step for Pause here?
Yeah, so we're opening a couple of more locations here in Los Angeles. We're going to be opening in Brentwood and Studio City shortly. But, you know, franchise, you know, the way to get this out there is via franchise. So we've launched franchise right now. So we're going to be selling Pause, you know, units nationwide. I think the soonest we can get something open is probably going to be about a year from now. But we're talking to people in Florida, in Arizona, in New Jersey, in Chicago, in Colorado, in Texas, and
all my homies back in DC
all of that right now.
Pause,
all that right now. So yeah, we're coming. Like we're gonna be everywhere.
Love that.
And, you know, and other brands like Pause, which it's all, you know, it benefits all.
Yeah.
You know, what's that expression? The higher tide.
Rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. You know, and you know, we at Pause, we definitely believe that.
Very cool. Well, I got to ask you my final question now. So let me start with you first.
Sure.
Ever forward. The theme of the show, I was kind of highlighting it earlier, but what does it mean to you? How do you live a life ever forward?
I think ever forward is, to me, it means like always striving to be better, always striving to live better. Like it's, you know,
deserving to live better. It's like ever and forward are two great frickin' words, you know, and you put those together and it makes me think of like just being better, you know, with every day.
Yeah.
Follow up.
Yeah, I view it as like there's no point in dwelling in the past, and we're like we are, at least as far as we know, on like a time is whatever linear, so we can't jump back and forth. But like to me, like there is going to be a tomorrow, and hopefully you have a better day tomorrow than you did yesterday. But it's like the idea that you're just constantly you're one foot in front of the other, and you might as well try to make yourself a better version along that way. But in spite of getting better or worse, like you are forever just moving forward. So embrace that, and then this probably you'll hopefully point in a better direction as a result.
Yeah, I mean, what you all do and how you do it, and quite literally the name has been a huge imprint on me and my own interpretation of my own message. You know, I think when we're in pursuit of living a better life, we're trying to achieve more, accomplish more, do more, be more. It's the more aspect I think we get caught up on, or at least I did. But I found immense value in literally taking a pause. And sometimes for me to move forward in life means taking pause right now, to do nothing right now. But it's really, we're never really doing nothing, right? We might physically be chilling, might be doing nothing, but the brain, the head, and the heart are always kind of running. And so there's our opportunity to move forward with those areas. Forward doesn't have to quite literally be moving forward. You know, we can achieve that, you know, by being still, by being present, and quite literally taking a pause. So for me lately, to move ever forward in my life has meant to take pauses more often.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. Like I've experienced pause myself, and I love it. It's beautiful. It's incredible. It adds immense value to my wellness routine. So, you know, personal experience, I can say, you know, I love it. I love it.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Thanks so much.
We're going to have all of you guys' information down in the show notes and video notes for everybody. But if they want to go somewhere right now to connect with you or learn more about these modalities or pause in general, where's the best place to go?
Pausestudio.com.
Okay.
Go to our website. There's a form there. I see every form that comes through. So if you have questions, plug them in. Let me know.
All right. Cool.